Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
Good evening. I am Noble Crosby-Annan, and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
This evening, National Democratic Congress directs government appointees seeking to contest any party office to resign at least 6 months before the internal polls.
And also coming up tonight, aspirants seeking to lead the opposition NPP wrap-up campaigns with barely 48 hours to flag bearer election.
Special Prosecutor Kisia Jabing alleges a plot sponsored by persons under investigation seeking the scrapping of his office.
Coming up in business news, government eyes fifth successive oversubscription in 6.99 billion cedis in Treasury bill auction tomorrow.
Much later, I'll bring you some international news because U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered for the reopening of Venezuela's airspace.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
Let's start the bulletin from here. The Special Prosecutor Kisia Jabing is alleging a smear campaign engineered by persons under investigation with the aim of ensuring that the office is scrapped. In the opening address of the OSP's half-year report, Mr. Jabing maintains all investigative bodies currently in existence will be scrapped if they were subjected to the same level of scrutiny as his office.
The OSP has been the subject of intense public debate in recent months, with calls for the office to be completely abolished. A parliamentary push in the form of an amendment bill has, however, been abandoned. A case questioning the independence of the OSP in relation to the Attorney General remains pending in the Supreme Court. There are also multiple petitions seeking the removal of the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor, Kisia Jabing, however, says there is a push by accused persons and suspects to have the office scrapped. He stated, "The pushback against the office is merely a sponsorship by the hundreds of persons under investigation and their associates and persons who are obvious candidates and potential candidates of investigations by the office." He also maintains that other investigative bodies, if subjected to the same reasons advanced against the OSP, none would survive abolishment despite decades of existence. The OSP, meanwhile, says it is following through with the prosecution of many high-profile cases, including that of a former Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta. The office maintains he is simply refusing to come back to Ghana and hopes its push for extradition succeeds.
Well, in a few moments, we'll be walking you through some of the highlights captured in the OSP's half-year report, which captures prosecutions that are ongoing and cases that are being investigated, amongst others. It will all happen here on News 360 in just a moment. But let's do some other stories and let's talk politics now. And right before we begin the political conversations this evening, let's remind you of the latest half-year report from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And these are some of the details you will find. And what you're seeing on your screen right now is that beginning with ongoing criminal cases. According to the OSP, there are 8 of them. And at the end of the half year, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has 8 active criminal cases before the courts. And these are cases where investigations are complete and the state is actively prosecuting suspected corruption and then corruption-related offenses. Of course, they include high-profile public sector cases involving alleged procurement breaches, abuse of office, and financial loss to the state. So once a case reaches this stage, it means that the OSP believes there is enough evidence to secure a conviction. That is why it is ongoing. There's also the mention of persons standing trial. And according to the OSP and in the half-year report, we're looking at 33 of those. A total of 32 individuals are currently standing trial in criminal cases being prosecuted by the OSP. And these include, again, public officials, company directors, and then private individuals alleged to have played roles in corruption schemes. There's also civil proceedings that the OSP is taking up this time and captured in the half-year report. That is in addition to the criminal prosecutions. And we have 10 of those civil cases. And they focus less on jail time and more on recovering state funds, cancelling illegal contract, and then one of the most important things is that reversing wrongful decisions. For example, if a contract is found to be tainted by corruption, the state can go to court to retrieve money or stop further losses, even if the criminal trials are still ongoing. So that is also happening. For ongoing investigations, 79 of those. It is currently conducting 79 active investigations. And these are cases where complaints have been received and investigators are gathering documents. Investigators working with the OSP, they are gathering documents. They are interviewing witnesses and then tracing money trails. There's other cases as well. We're looking at 161 of those. And these cases, beyond the full investigations, the OSP is also handling 161 other cases. These are cases that, if you like, you can say that they are at the preliminary or the assessment stage. So where the office is reviewing complaints to determine whether they meet the legal threshold for investigation. It shows that the office receives far more complaints than it can immediately investigate, and therefore the office must apply strict legal standards to be able to go ahead with the investigations or with the prosecutions. So far, according to the OSP, during the period under review, 7 convictions have been secured. The conviction means that the court has found the accused guilty beyond reasonable doubt, not just accused, but proving. And financial recoveries, 2 million cedis recovered for the MIIF, and then 8.5 million recovered from investigations into diversion of petroleum products. The OSP says that these have happened. And then recovering the money from the MIF, if you like, MIIF, it means that the state resources were restored and that they were not lost. The 8.5 million cedis from petroleum diversion investigations, 8.5 million was recovered from investigations into this as well. And this also means that this money could have been lost through fuel diversion, amongst others, and it would have affected the fuel supply, pricing, and then in general, government revenue. So according to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the half-year figure reflects its ongoing effort in investigation, prosecution, asset recovery, and then civil action as well. And the office says that these outcomes represent progress in enforcing accountability and then protecting public resources within the period under review. That's it from the OSP according to its half-year report.
This is your Election Command Center. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has directed all government appointees who have interest in contesting for a party office to resign at least 6 months to any of the party's internal elections. The governing party also says that this move is targeted at ending grief and giving equal chances to deserving members. So chairpersons and members of boards are excluded from this directive.
The National Democratic Congress has explained that it has millions of qualified members and supporters who can serve the party in different portfolios. As such, it cannot allow government appointees to hold party office simultaneously.
Any person seeking to contest for a party position who currently holds an office to which he or she was appointed by the president or government must resign from that office at least 6 clear months before filing nomination forms. The affected officers include ministers and deputy ministers. B. Chief executive officers, managing directors, their deputies, or analogous officers. C. Metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives. Now, for the avoidance of doubt and for absolute clarity, the category I just mentioned, the 3 categories I mentioned, those intending to contest at the constituency level shall resign by April 2026. Those intending to contest at the regional level shall resign by May 2026. And those intending to contest at the national level shall resign by June 2026.
A further justification is how the party is seeking to cut greed and even a future possible amendment to stop members of parliament from serving at the same time in government.
God forbid, if any of us drop dead today, NDC has got so many more people who can hold our position and do an excellent job, if not even better job. So we must have the same principle at all. I think it's simply an issue of reducing the level of greed. You understand? You're alone, one man with job. What's your problem? What's your problem? And so if you want to work for the party, you leave your position in government. Just come and contest and win. Then we know you are fully dedicated. But this situation where you are trying to be one leg here, one leg no, you are the one. So it's the same kind of principle.
The party, as part of its internal reorganization, has provided roadmaps for its election from branch level to national, with even a stronger caution to all branch executives who would supervise the registration of new members for the party.
Branch registers will be made available at every branch to enable members to verify their details. This applies to 1, existing members, 2, members of both existing branches, and newly created branches formed during the 2024 elections. Branch executives are hereby directed to open their registers fully and transparently to members. Members must be given unhindered access to check their names and ensure that corrections, omissions, or additions are addressed appropriately. Let me state this unequivocally. Under no circumstances should the membership number of a deceased member be transferred or swapped for a new registrant. Any branch found to have violated this directive will face the severest sanctions prescribed under the constitution of the party.
And that's it from the camp of the NDC. Let's flip to the camp of the NPP now, because aspirants seeking to lead the NPP into the 2028 polls have today wrapped up their campaigns ahead of Saturday's elections. It promises to be a keen contest between 5 candidates, including former Vice President Dr. Bawumia and former legislator Kennedy Ohene Ejapon. Let's take a closer look at how some of the aspirants wrapped up their campaign. The NPP flag bearer hopeful, Dr. Yawase Aduchum, says that he remains the only candidate capable of uniting the party as the NPP prepares to elect its next presidential candidate this Saturday. He made the remarks while briefing journalists after wrapping up his nationwide campaign tour.
On Saturday, January 31, more than 200,000 new Patriotic Party delegates will go to the polls to elect a flag bearer to lead the party into the 2028 presidential elections. Ahead of the vote, one of the 5 aspirants, Dr. Yawase Aduchum, says the internal contest has exposed signs of division among supporters of some candidates, something he believes could weaken the party ahead of the general elections. The former Minister of Education and Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe says his campaign has been guided by unity, inclusiveness and respect, and that he is best positioned to bring all factions of the party together.
This is a campaign devoid of insults. I will be your unifier. I'm the one who can unify the party. But when you elect me, nobody's going to say because of what he said and how he insulted my leader, the person that I loved and voted for, I'm not going to follow him. So that is something good that I will assure you that we'll have a unified party going into the 2028 election.
Dr. Educhum has also appealed to delegates to vote for him while outlining policies aimed at poverty reduction, economic empowerment, and job creation.
The idea that close to about 40% of the people are not working, or some who are working are still poor, I think is something that should concern us, and we need to do everything possible to eradicate poverty from the face of this country.
He further pledged to ensure livable wages for all Ghanaians, both in the formal and informal sectors.
Livable wages are wages that take care of you and your family. You're able to take care of your family, pay fees and other things, and be able down the line to own a car, own a home. That is what happens in most countries that are emerging out of poverty. So livable wages is something that we need to work on as a nation. And I'm going to champion it, and I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. Ghanaians must prosper.
The presidential candidate hopeful has called on all party members to remain peaceful and focused as the election approaches, stressing that unity is key to the party's success in the 2028 general elections. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
And it is all happening on the 31st of January, this Saturday, 2026. Trust us here, your election command center, to bring you all the details, all the happenings concerning the NPP flag bearer race. Well, tonight, two of the candidates, including, and I'm talking about Dr. Brian Champon and then Kennedy Ohene Japan, they are set to engage their supporters ahead of the primary. So we'll be updating you on that as well. The other aspirants, including Dr. Brian Champon and then Kennedy Japan, they are set to address major news conferences tonight to press home the demand for their election on Saturday. The question is, who leads the NPP?
In more news tonight, the new Patriotic Party candidate for Bandai, Matthew Nyindam, has recovered his seat at the House of Legislature following the Supreme Court's decision to quash the Tamale High Court annulment of his election. How does he return to Parliament after his seat was declared vacant by the Speaker? Here is an explainer on what route will be taken to reinstate Matthew Nyindam as Bandai legislator.
On November 24, 2025, the Tamale High Court, presided over by Justice Emmanuel Brie-Planche, delivered a judgment that annulled the 2024 parliamentary election results for Bandai. This was after the court held that there were irregularities in the conduct, collation and documentation of the election in 41 out of the 152 polling stations at Bandai, after a petition filed by NDC parliamentary candidate Daniel Insala Wakpao. The Tamale High Court then ordered a fresh parliamentary election rerun in the constituency, instructing the Electoral Commission to hold a new poll within 30 days. The Electoral Commission then issued a judicial notice to Parliament for the Speaker to declare the seats vacant in order to pave the way for the rerun of the elections in Bandai. Immediately after the ruling, however, the NPP MP Matthew Nyindam filed a notice of appeal and an application for stay of execution, signaling his intention to challenge the High Court's decision. The House of Legislature was then compelled to stay his hand, which is the Speaker, until the expiration of the 7 days per the provision of Court of Appeal Rules 1997 CI 19 as amended in the Court of Appeal 2020 CI 132 Rule 27/3. Fast forward to Wednesday, January 28 at the Supreme Court, a 4-1 majority decision quashed the Tamale High Court ruling that had annulled the election of Matthew Nyindam as Member of Parliament. The judgment effectively reinstates the new Patriotic Party candidate as the duly elected representative for the constituency. Justice Gabriel Skopwamang was the lone dissenting voice on the 5-member panel. With this decision, when the House resumes on February 4, Parliament must take judicial notice of the Supreme Court decision since it reversed the order that declared the Bandai seats vacant. Parliament must then formally withdraw the vacancy notice to the Electoral Commission, effectively making Matthew Nyendan the Member of Parliament for Panda constituency. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, from one constituency to another, the National Democratic Congress is gearing up for its parliamentary primaries in the Ayawaso East constituency, with 5 aspirants successfully vetted ahead of the February 7 contest. My colleague Noura Mohammed, she brings us reactions from the constituency as constituents prepare to go to the polls.
Here at Nima in the Ayawaso East constituency, with all 5 contestants, including the late MP's wife, Hajia Amina Adam, as well as Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal, and also, interestingly, the constituency's chairman and some 2 others. The competition seems very tight. And so we're here to engage some constituents and some delegates to see who they're rooting for and why they choose that particular person to represent the NDC in the by-election.
I'm not going to vote because since I started voting, I'm voting for NASA. Since I started voting, but I never see nothing.
I'm with Hajia Amina. I'm with her because I wanted to come and continue the good work that the husband has left behind. I think he has left about 13 projects that he needs to complete, and then God called him. So we wanted to come and continue those projects. We know her capabilities. The time for women relegation has passed. So this time, it's women supporting women.
As for me, I'm rooting for Honorable Baba Jamal. Okay. And my reasons are that, considering the political antecedent of this, our constituency, is the only person who has been able to change the face of the politics in East Ayawaso here, because he contested the last election and lost to the late MP. But even though he lost the election, he didn't leave the constituency. In fact, he was the face of the campaign. For the first time in the history of this constituency, we saw youth. Motors were distributed to our youth to work for the party, and after that, he has instituted a loan scheme. The MP wasn't working. If the MP was working and you tell me it's the wife that was behind him, that one fine. But the man is not doing anything.
Oh, why are you to be breast? Sanu kuna jumano enwie anti ade mo obia. Ejuma na be basa. Na za de why de panti. Maame no kura wonu mu na ejuma ne kunu so ya.
The one I am in for is Baba Jamal, because formerly when he with the late McNaza stood, they contested each other. McNaza won election, and then Baba Jamal came second. You understand? So due to that, all of us, the youth here around, we prefer Jamal. He contested in Akwetia. Yeah, we all know that. But due to his eloquence, the way he speaks, the way he organizes himself, that's why we, the youth here, we like him very much.
With the Ayawaso East constituency primaries just around the corner, which is on February 7, out of all the constituents that we've spoken to, the competition seems to be between the late MP's wife, Hajia Amina Adam, as well as Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal. And it is yet to be seen and determined who exactly the constituents and delegates would choose to represent the National Democratic Congress come March 3rd in the by-elections. Noura Mohammed for TV3 News, Accra.
Away from the Greater Accra region, NDC National Chairman Johnson Isiedun Ketia has urged the youth and traditional leaders in the Prestia Huni Valley Municipality to strictly adhere to national regulations governing small-scale mining. This follows concerns raised by Member of Parliament and traditional authorities about the recent wave of attacks on miners in the Abosso area. A violent incident stemming from these tensions resulted in the tragic death of one person. Rama Smith has more.
The second day of the National Democratic Congress Chairman's thank you tour of the Western region took him to the Prestia Huni Valley, Takwan Swayem and Ahanta West municipalities. At Pristia Valley, the Member of Parliament and Municipal Chief Executive Robert Wisdom Kujo and Matthew Ayi urgently appealed for government attention on the deteriorated 20-kilometer road from Bogoso Junction to Pristia. They also raised concerns about the alleged seizure of underground resources belonging to the community by certain high-ranking party members and security service personnel.
October 2024.
In October 2024, the MPP administration awarded a Chinese firm the right to operate an abandoned shaft as a large-scale mine, a site that was originally intended for community mining and had been seized from us in 2016. According to accounts, those who arrived to take control alleged that they were acting under instructions from senior party officials.
The road from Bogoso to Pristia.
The Bogoso-Pristia Road project was initiated under the NDC government. However, the subsequent MPP administration not only abandoned the project but also opted to conduct an investigation, leaving the road to deteriorate further.
Chairman Johnson Asidun Ketia in his response urged the youth and traditional leaders to strictly comply with national mining laws and regulations. He underscored the sector's unique importance, arguing that properly managed small-scale mining offers a more sustainable source of employment and livelihood for the people than large-scale corporate mining.
It is small-scale, no,
Small-scale mining is a crucial sector, but must be safeguarded. Its true potential is only realized when it is practiced responsibly. We must commit to mining methods that ensure its necessary benefits whilst protecting both our environment and community. Adherence to effective mining measure is therefore a non-negotiable priority for the collective good.
And now, over 160,000 cases of typhoid fever were confirmed across Ghana in 2025, with the northern Savannah and the Upper East regions recording the highest prevalence. To curb the spread, the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with state agencies, is set to roll out mandatory vaccinations for food vendors.
Reports indicate 1,489 people died from typhoid fever last year alone. The disease, spread through fecal-oral contamination, can cause constipation, vomiting, diarrhea, and in severe cases, death. Officials say poor sanitation, unsafe water, inadequate food hygiene, and unvaccinated handlers continue to fuel rising cases. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria, says the vaccination rollout will begin in the coming weeks and urged food vendors to comply if they wish to remain in the industry.
While existing regulations require periodic medical screening and certification, these measures alone are insufficient. Medical screening reflects an individual's health status only at the particular moment in the time and does not protect against future infections. It is in this context that the Ghana Health Service, under the leadership of the Ministry of Health, recommends the typhoid fever vaccination program.
Director of Public Health of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Asiedu Bekwe, warns that the vaccination will not be free, but efforts are underway to subsidize costs.
In the past, you were getting people who were being screened and then you are treated. And now we are saying that we are giving a very cost-effective intervention, which is vaccination. That protects you for 3 years. So when you do not have the vaccination, you are not going to get the health certificate to practice. The vaccines actually save lives. And we're thinking that when you are vaccinated, you are more likely not to get the disease than when you are not vaccinated.
Environmental Health Officer Prince Dramado reveals that of over 150,000 food handlers screened in the past year, about 10% have been sanctioned, with more expected following ongoing investigations.
If you see anybody preparing food and you think the area within which the person is preparing food is not safe, just at the spot, because I'm telling instance one or the spot one, the person is being asked to vacate the site and the right thing is being done. So I can just roughly tell you that out of the 150,000 screened, less than 10% wouldn't be so much alarming. Less than 10% fell for that, of which the necessary actions were taken to resolve the issue.
In more news tonight, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, University of Development Studies branch, that's UTAG-UDS, is the latest to align itself to calls by teacher unions demanding the removal of the Director General and Deputy Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC. According to UTAG-UDS in a statement, it has carefully reviewed and fully endorsed the stance by UTAG-UG, UTAG-KNUST, UTAG-UCC branches, duly sanctioned by the National Executive Council, calling for the resignation of the two GTEC officials. It is hence calling on them to resign honorably in the national interest to restore trust, professionalism and stability within the tertiary education sector, as well as urging government to urgently operationalize Act 1023. It also asked all UTAG branches, staff unions, students and civil society organizations to remain vigilant, united and resolute in the defense of public universities and democratic governance in higher education.
This is still News 360 live on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're back with more stories after the break. Don't go away.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here. Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening.
You buy MTN. Touch concentrated perfume.
Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on News 360. I am Minu Afol. Government of Ghana is showing no signs of slowing its domestic fundraising efforts as it returns to the Treasury bill market tomorrow, January 30, 2026. The Treasury is targeting 6.997 billion cedis in a move that market analysts believe could secure a fifth consecutive oversubscription in the first month of the year.
The upcoming auction on January 30, 2026 features the standard three-tenor structure offering 91-day, 182-day and 364-day bills. This latest target of 6.997 billion cedis represents a strategic adjustment in volume following a massive last week's auction where Government of Ghana successfully accepted 12.80 billion cedis from a pool of 15.91 billion cedis in total bids. The high demand for short-term government securities comes at a time when interest rates are showing slight broad-based increases. Currently, yields are 91-day bill at 11.20%, 182-day bill at 12.67%, and 364-day bill at 13.07%. Despite the slight uptick in yields, investor confidence remains robust. The heavy reliance on the T-bill market is a central pillar of the government's 2026 domestic borrowing plan. With the Bank of Ghana having recently slashed the policy rate to 15.5%, government is keen to capitalize on the high liquidity in the banking sector. The funds raised are expected to cover maturing debts and support the primary surplus targets. Market watchers will be keen to see if the government can maintain its perfect record for January. A fifth consecutive oversubscription would provide a strong fiscal cushion as the country enters the second month of the year.
In more news tonight, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has welcomed the latest cut in the policy rate, praising central bank governor and suggesting his ambition of achieving a single-digit rate before the end of his tenure may be within reach. The Bank of Ghana announced a reduction in the policy rate from 18% to 15%, a move that has been well received by business community.
At 15%, the rate is now at its lowest level in 4 years, surprising many economists who had expected a more cautious approach. Since July last year, the central bank has lowered its main lending rate by a cumulative 12.5 percentage points, citing improved macroeconomic conditions. Governor Johnson Esiama said the Monetary Policy Committee's majority decision reflected confidence in Ghana's economic outlook, with inflation remaining under control. Speaking to 3 Business, GUTA President Clement Boateng described the announcement as welcomed news for traders and businesses across the country.
Before the committee meeting, and I even told the person that I don't expect any increments, but rather I even still want them to maintain it or even decrease it. And right to my words, they've decreased it by 250 basis, and I think it's a welcome news. So what we want the BOG to do as a regulatory body is also to impress upon the commercial banks to also try and reduce their lending rate.
The governor had earlier indicated his intention to bring the policy rate down to single digits before leaving office. Mr. Boateng believes that target may be achieved sooner than expected.
I'm sure that before he exited, we'll be able, to achieve that goal. And if you are able to do that, then on businesses, for them to be able to, borrow at a very moderate, lending rate, and then be able to expand.
Time now to take a look at how our cedi is faring against other trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. And that's it for Business Tonight on News 360. I am Menu. Afro Sports News is up next. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We begin with our first story where news coming in just a few minutes ago is that Majid Ashimeru has become Raul Laluvier's fourth signing of the winter transfer window, joining on a 6-month loan from Anderlecht. The 28-year-old Ghanaian midfielder trained by Red Bull Salzburg has been playing since 2021 at Anderlecht after campaigns in Austria and FC St. Gallen. Under the purple and white colours, he played 129 games in the first team, during which he scored 9 goals and delivered 6 assists. Ashimeru has also been called up 12 times by the Ghana national team and joins compatriot Jerry Afriyie at Rao. To some more stories where the Confederation of African Football has imposed several sanctions on both Senegal and Morocco's federations while confirming the suspension of Senegal coach Pape Thiaw for the next 5 matches. There's more details in the following report.
The decisions were taken following the incidents that ensued during the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final in Morocco. The final, played in Rabat, was interrupted for over 15 minutes as Senegal attempted to abandon the pitch following Congolese referee Jean Indala Ngambo awarding a late penalty for Morocco. CAF have finally acted to the incident by suspending Coach Thiaw, who was seen instructing Senegal players to return to the locker room after a penalty was awarded. Thiaw will now serve his suspension during the upcoming qualifiers for the next Africa Cup of Nations, but will be available to coach the Lions of Teranga at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. CAF further sanctioned Senegal players Iliman Ndiaye and Ismail Assar for 2 CAF matches for unsporting behavior towards the referee. The African football body has imposed Senegal FA with a fine of $300,000 for the improper conduct of its supporters. The Senegalese FA was also fined $300,000 for the unsporting conduct of their players and technical staff. Morocco defender Ashraf Hakimi will serve a 2-match suspension, with one of these matches being suspended for 1 year from the date of this decision for his unsporting behavior. Another Moroccan player affected by CAF's decision is Ismail Saibari, who will serve 3-match suspension for his unsporting behavior and was further fined $100,000. The Moroccan Federation was fined $200,000 for the inappropriate behavior of their stadium's ball boys during the aforementioned match, and $100,000 for the improper conduct of their national team players and technical staff who invaded the VAR review area and obstructed the referee's work. In conclusion, the CAF disciplinary board rejected the protest lodged by the Moroccan Federation to strip Senegal of the AFCON title. By dismissing this petition, CAF officially reaffirmed Senegal as the 2025 AFCON champions.
Now, before we go, 2-time Ghana Premier League champions Aduana Stars have taken a significant step towards strengthening their international profile with the appointment of former Black Stars midfielder Emmanuel Agyemangbedu as the club's international relations manager. The appointment was officially confirmed on January 28, 2026, with the 2009 Under-20 World Cup winner also taking up the additional role of Pathways and External Relations Officer. Agyemangbedu brings a wealth of experience to the role, having enjoyed an illustrious playing career that spanned across Ghana and Europe, as well as years of service with the senior national team. Aduana are currently 3rd on the Ghana Premier League table. Or you can get some more sports stories on our social media handles. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
In more news tonight, Telecel Ghana Foundation, through its flagship Rural Ultrasound Scan initiative, has taken this initiative to Goma Obuasi in the central region. Pregnant women were provided with free ultrasound scans and health screening at the local health center as part of efforts to bring essential maternal health care closer to expectant mothers in rural communities.
The Rural Ultrasound Scan Initiative is a maternal health initiative by the Telecel Ghana Foundation designed to improve early detection of pregnancy-related complications in underserved communities. Speaking at the health screening, Foundation and Sustainability Analyst at Telecel Ghana, Gifty Arthur, reaffirmed Telecel Ghana's commitment to maternal health.
It's a bi-monthly initiative that we conduct for pregnant women. It will surprise you to know that a woman somewhere in Wale Wale or Zabzugu hasn't even had the chance to visit the hospital to see how her baby is faring. So that is what Telecel Ghana Foundation has taken it upon ourselves to do.
The in charge of the Gomo Obuasi Model Health Center, Eunice Kote, described Telecel Ghana's visit as a timely intervention.
For the first time, we are seeing about more than 100 pregnant women gathered here to have their scan, which is free of charge. We pray that in the future, Telecel Foundation will come again with other initiatives to help with the various challenges we have in our areas.
Some mothers share their excitement for the support.
We thank Telecel for the support. They have given us free scan and general medical checkup. They also educated us on our diet and gave us welcome gifts as well. God bless them. I got to know that my baby is fine. I am so happy as they added welcome gifts as well. I am very grateful to Telecel.
Understanding that maternal health extends beyond medical checkups, the Telecel Ghana Foundation also provided welcome packages filled with essential baby care items for the expectant mothers.
More news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
GTP, Lifestyle,
and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
powered by 3 Entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. I am Esiedua Afingi. Starting off, private legal practitioner Jonathan Amable has advised budding artists to carefully read contracts and, most importantly, seek legal advice before signing them to avoid future complications. According to him, getting a lawyer's perspective helps artists understand how various aspects of the contract could affect them in the future and make informed decisions.
It's the first thing, and for me, the first thing that I would say is it's important to read it, but then it's also important for you to get help to read it, to understand it, because you can read it, but certain things will not be apparent to you just off the face of it. Sometimes you can read a thing, but you need somebody who can actually highlight what this necessarily means, how this can practically affect you, so that you can now think through it and realize that, oh wow, I didn't realize that this is what it means, right? So the first principle for me always is to read it, try to understand it. But secondly, try to get a trained mind, which would typically be that lawyer who can read it and advise you.
Now let's take a look at some tidbits from the world of entertainment. The 72-year-old screen legend was presented at the King Kosogo Palace in Morocco, Lagos Island, in the presence of royal family members and well-wishers following the vacancy left by the death of Chief Adebola Ige in 2017. The announcement was made by the Olorebi General of the family, Mrs. Mutiat Ali Balogun, in line with palace traditions. However, the declaration comes amid an ongoing succession dispute as another branch of the royal family continues to push for a different candidate. Jide Kosogo, who began his acting career as a child in 1964, is one of Nollywood's most respected veterans and is expected to undergo traditional installation rites by the Oba of Lagos. Nicki Minaj has sparked major buzz after showing public support for U.S. President Donald Trump. The rapper made a surprise appearance on stage with Trump during an event in Washington, D.C. Trump was in the middle of his remarks at a Trump account event on Wednesday when he invited Minaj to join him on stage, referring to her as a great supporter.
Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one that's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter and a great supporter of Trump accounts.
Nicki also briefly addressed the crowd as she went on to add that criticism doesn't affect her.
I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, you know, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work.
That's it for entertainment. I'm Esiedua Afingi.
Thank you so much, Esiedua. Coming up, international news.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he was ordering the reopening of airspace over Venezuela after a call Thursday with the country's acting president, part of an effort to resume ties following the raid to capture Nicolas Maduro. Trump told a cabinet meeting he had just spoken to Venezuela's interim president Delcy Rodriguez and informed her that all commercial airspace over Venezuela will be opened. Trump added that he had instructed U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, to have the airspace over Venezuela opened. Trump also said the major oil companies were going to Venezuela now, scouting it out and picking their locations. Passenger flights between Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa and cities in northern Tigray region have been cancelled amid fears of a return to conflict, with reports of clashes in the area. Ethiopia Airlines, which operates all routes in the country, sent passengers a text message about the cancellation, citing unplanned circumstances. Neither the airline nor the government has commented further. Airport staff in Tigray's city of Mekelle have reportedly been told not to go to work.
And we're grateful for spending the last 1 hour with it. That's it for News 360. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby-Annen.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Alfredo Kansa at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.